You've survived every world we've thrown at you, frozen on Mars, crushed on Venus, swallowed whole by Jupiter and Saturn. So here's a simpler question. Not a planet, not a place to land, just a distance. How close could you get to the sun? Not touch it, not land on it. There's nothing to land on, just get close, hover there, and look at it. The answer is going to feel wrong, because the sun doesn't have a wall you slam into. It doesn't have a surface that stops you. It kills you in stages from millions of miles away, long before you ever arrive, and each stage kills you a completely different way. So let's count down. Let's see exactly how far you get. Right now, you're 93 million miles away, and you already know what the sun feels like from here. A warm afternoon, a squint, a sunburn if you're careless. That's the sun being gentle. That's the sun 93 million miles away, and it can still burn your skin through an atmosphere. Start moving toward it. For a long time, almost nothing changes. The sun gets a little brighter, a little bigger. You pass the orbit of Venus, then Mercury, the closest planet, a burnt rock that bakes at 800 degrees. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Even at Mercury's distance, the sun is only a fraction of the way to killing you. You're not even close to close yet. But the light is changing. It stops being light you look at. It becomes light you can't. The sun swells until it fills your whole sky. Not a disk anymore. A wall of white fire with no edges. Your eyes were built for a sun the size of a coin. This is a sun the size of everything. Look at it for 1 instant without a shield and it doesn't hurt. It just deletes your vision. Permanent, silent, gone. And you still can't feel any heat. That's the part that should scare you. Because before the heat reaches you, the radiation does. The sun is screaming out ultraviolet and X-rays the whole time, and out here there's no atmosphere to soak them up. Your cells are being torn apart at the molecular level while your skin still feels cool. You are being cooked from the inside by light you can't even see, and the furnace hasn't switched on yet. Then it does. Now we reach the number that stops every serious mission cold, because a human being has already done this. Sort of. In 2021, NASA's Parker Solar Probe became the first spacecraft to fly through the sun's outer atmosphere. That outer atmosphere is the corona, and here's the detail that should confuse you. The corona runs hotter than the surface below it, millions of degrees, hotter than anything the visible sun ever gets. So how does anything fly through that and survive even a few minutes? Because temperature is a trick of scale. The corona is scorching hot, and almost nothing. It's so thin, so close to empty space, that there aren't enough particles up there to actually cook something the way fire does. Heat needs particles hitting you over and over, fast. Up here they're too spread out. It's the difference between touching a lit match and standing in a warm room. Same heat in a sense, wildly different result. That's the only reason Parker gets to fly through the corona at all. But don't relax. The corona not burning you on contact does nothing about the radiation pouring off the sun this entire time, and that part was never forgiving. In 2024, it got closer than anything humanity has ever built, about 3.8 million miles from the surface. That sounds far. It isn't. Not next to a star. And Parker only survived by cheating. It hides behind a carbon shield built to take 2,500 degrees. It moves at 430,000 miles an hour, the fastest object humans have ever made. So it's in and out fast, never lingering. It keeps that shield pointed dead at the sun every second, because if it ever turned, if the real spacecraft behind the shield caught the light for even a moment, it would be gone. That's the closest we get, with a shield, at blistering speed, for a few minutes. You have no shield. You are not moving at 400,000 miles an hour. You are a soft, warm, water-filled body drifting toward a nuclear furnace. So for you, 3.8 million miles is already the far side of the end. Push closer, and the heat stops being a temperature and becomes a force. At a few 100,000 miles, the surface below you glows at nearly 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing you're made of survives that. Nothing anything is made of survives that. Metal doesn't melt here. It boils. Rock turns to vapor. And you don't burn the way fire burns. There's no ash, no charring, no body left behind. The energy pours into you faster than your atoms can hold together, and you simply come apart, flashed into gas, into plasma, into raw particles that scatter into the light, vaporized. In seconds, millions of miles from a sun you never touched. And you still haven't reached the part that isn't even solid, because that glowing surface below you, it was never ground. It's the photosphere, an ocean of plasma so hot that atoms can't stay whole. Up close, it churns. Cells of fire the size of Texas boil up, cool, and sink, over and over, the whole star bubbling like a pot that never stops. There is no floor here, no crust, no place your feet could ever find. You would fall into it the way you fall into an ocean of fire, except you'd be gas long before you arrived. And the surface is the coolest part of the whole thing. Above it, arcs of plasma the size of a dozen Earths leap off the star and hang there. Prominences, held up by magnetic fields, glowing loops you could pour our entire planet through and lose it. Flares erupt with the energy of 1 billion nuclear bombs, and every so often the sun hurls a piece of itself into space, a coronal mass ejection, a cloud of superheated plasma bigger than worlds, moving millions of miles an hour. One of those, aimed at you, would erase whatever was left of the atoms that used to be you before you even saw it coming. And beneath all of it, at the very center, the heat you are falling toward the entire time, 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to fuse hydrogen into helium. Hot enough to power every sunrise you've ever seen. You would never, ever reach it. Nothing you are could survive a millionth of the way there. So, how close could you get to the sun? Here's the answer nobody wants. The closest you could ever safely get to the sun is exactly where you're sitting right now. 93 million miles. That's not a random number. That's the one distance where the sun's light arrives as warmth instead of death. A hair closer over millions of years and the oceans boil. A hair farther and they freeze. Every living thing that has ever existed exists inside that one thin, perfect gap, held at arm's length by the very star that would vaporize us in seconds if we ever closed it. You've spent this whole series trying to survive other worlds, but you survived the sun by never approaching it at all. It already gave you the only safe distance there is, and you're living in it. There's just one more thing. That perfect gap isn't permanent. The sun is burning through its fuel, and in the end, billions of years from now, it will swell into a red giant, reach out past Mercury, past Venus, and swallow the Earth whole. The thing keeping you alive is the same thing that will one day end everything. It's just being patient. So, could you survive the sun? You already are, every second of your life. You just never realize that surviving it means never getting close. Next time we leave the light behind and go somewhere the sun's warmth has never reached. Subscribe so you're here when it does.